strong quarter, stronger outlook than was expected. What has changed that's allowed you to be so positive?
Well, there are a number of things. On the smartphone market, we have a great opportunity ahead of us, which is the expansion of our addressable market into the units that were with Huawei and high silicon, and and the ability to gain that market share, especially in the premium high tier unit, in a market like the smartphone, which is mature. Uh, it's an incredible, I think, driver for a business now into the future. You don't have that often that you have $10 billion of addressable market becoming available all of a sudden in a mature market. That's one. The other one is we continue to diversify the company, and we have an incredible story in automotive and IoT segment, and two consecutive quarters of $1 billion in IoT, and now guiding 1.3 billion for next quarter. That is the reason we're so excited about the company.
Staying on smartphones for a moment, as you say, it is a mature market. So, what is your strategy, aside from Huawei, to continue to grow in the smartphone market?
Okay. In 5G, it's becoming crystal clear to us that the strategy, which is really working well for the company, is to basically provide the premium and high tier Android experience with Snapdragon and attaching our RF front end. And we have got ourselves in a situation now that really, when you think about premium Android, the word that comes is Snapdragon. It's powered by Snapdragon. We're highly differentiated there. And we already know who the winners and losers are of the Huawei volume. The most of it is went to companies like Vivo, Oppo, Xiaomi, including Honor. And that put Qualcomm in a very good position. So that is really being the key driver on the strategy. We are seeing the 1.5 multiplier we talk about, at the beginning of 5G, from 4G to 5G, we see 1.5 times the revenue because of our chipset and our front end. And we're just the beginning of that. As outlined in the earnings call, we have 2022 as the ability to really realize the opportunity of 10 billion in addressable market available to us.
Now, we've heard everyone all the way to Elon Musk complaining about the chip shortage. Just how bad is it? And when do you expect some relief?
Okay, Emily, we across the board, as phones and auto and IoT and everything across the board, there's really more demand for our products than we can supply. And in one hand, it's a good position to be in. It shows that there's a lot of demand for technology, but we have utilized our scale and put a lot of actions in place to get out of this capacity crunch. We have the unique ability to multi-source products, even if they are at the leading semiconductor technology node. We have ability to leverage multi-sourcing. We also put a lot of capacity planning in place, and we have the scale to make capacity demand commitments and get the capacity in return. And that's why even in the middle of this very difficult supply chain situation, we continue to generate growth, have a very good guide, and we have line of sight of material improvements in supply for us towards the end of the calendar year.
So what exactly does that mean? At the end of the calendar year, what do you expect to happen?
I expect to see our ability to substantially meet the demand, be much less constrained, and position us very well for all of the growth vectors we have for fiscal 22.
Now, yesterday was Steve's last earnings call. You have said your tenure will be defined by Qualcomm's expansion outside of smartphones. You mentioned cars, you mentioned IoT, of course, PCs. Give us a progress report on that push.
Look, it's we have a lot of reasons to celebrate, really. Automotive, I'll start with that. On automotive, the car is changing dramatically. And if you look at a lot of the car companies, they need a lot of digital assets. They talk about the digital chassis as being one of the most important assets for them. And we are position ourselves as the partner of choice for all those companies. You can even think about you have a traditional car company, you add the technology of Qualcomm, that could be equal to what a company like Tesla can do. And we see that reflected in our numbers. We added another billion and our pipeline of automotive revenues is now in excess of 9 billion, including a number of technologies that are required by this digital chassis. And the new segment, I think we're talking about it, and we have a lot of growth opportunities because it's highly diversified, is our IoT segment. And within that segment, there are a few things worth highlighting. They could be very big bets for us. One is the conversions of computers and phones. You know, the computer became a communicator device. I'm sure when you go to your computer right now, number one use case is doing Zoom, calls, and it's really changed the use case into a computer more to what a phone looks like. It's connected, it has cameras, it has multimedia. And with the acquisition of Nuvia, we expected that we're going to be a very good provider of what the future of PCs look like. And the other big bet, it's augmented reality. We're just in the beginning of that. I think we have great progress with companies like Facebook for Oculus, Microsoft for the enterprise with HoloLens, and it could be the next phone. So we are excited about the IoT segment, and we'll keep going at it.
Interesting. Now, so many changes happening in the chip business right now. You told me you are very excited about Intel's new Foundry operation, looking forward to becoming a customer. There's still a lot of folks who are skeptical that companies like Apple and Amazon, who are now designing their own chips, will go to Intel rather than sticking with a neutral party like TSMC. Do you see a real changing of the guard coming or not?
Look, from a big picture standpoint, we're super happy to see more investment in Foundry. Look, we represent one of the biggest examples of this very vibrant United States, fabulous semiconductor industry. We need semiconductor manufacturing, and Intel to become a foundry is really welcome news. We are committed to work, not only with our existing foundry partners like at TSMC and Samsung, but also with Intel. It will take time. I believe those conversations, we're really talking in a number of years, but we see that as a positive development for sure.
So who gets left behind then, if someone does?
Look, the way I'll answer that question, right? More and more, I see, the intent to develop manufacturing in multiple locations. You see, Samsung, one of the probably best kept secrets, and nobody talks about it. A large number of our chips are made in the United States with a Samsung fab in Austin, Texas. TSMC is talking about more investment in the United States. Here's how we feel about this. There's always going to be a room for leading technology semiconductor, and it's all about having the best performance. We today work with companies like TSMC and Samsung because they're leader in performance. If Intel takes that position, it's all about technology. It's a great opportunity for Intel as well. It's just about executing and trying to achieve leadership.